Hello, everybody. Let me send out an email to everybody. Continue here. How are you doing today? I'm doing a different approach for email. I'm sending an email right when the live stream starts to see if that gets people to go, oh, it's happening right now. So they'll join. Anyway, I hope you all are doing well. Happy Saturday. Let's get over to the chat. I haven't even seen what you guys are. I don't even know anybody's there. I could be just talking to myself, which is what I'm doing anyhow. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, welcome. Let's play for a minute. We're gonna usually start by playing with something. I set Unify to layer so I can now add extra patches. What do we want to add? Let's add another BPM plug to this. Let's add Spotlight. Turn that down just a little bit. Let's add just a normal pad, and then we're gonna like mess it up. Let's say, yeah, let's do the static sign wet. This is just a really nice steady pad. Say load into a new Unify layer. But I'm gonna do a trick. I'm gonna go over here to this and I'm gonna say replace this with embedded instrument 1. And what that means is that if you open up this Unify layer, there's only one instrument. So it's gonna take whatever is in the instrument 1 slot. And if there's more than one instrument, if you have, say, 3 different instruments, these are different instruments. If you take this and drag this to the number 1 slot, if you now use that command, say, replace with embedded instrument 1, then whatever is in instrument 1 slot is what is going to be replacing this Unify plugin. So by using this, it's going to make Shady Cove or static sign show up right here without being inside a Unify. So now I can have access to Pump House, so I can turn this up if I want. I can open this up, go to presets. There's all sorts of presets. There's numbered presets. We could say 4 step downs. I went step up, I think. So numbered presets. There we go. And then play with the curve of the different steps. And you can easily make all sorts of really cool dance, trancey. Blend the depth if you don't want it to be 100%. Hey guys. Oh good, yeah. So I'll tell you guys in the live stream too, I have a $15 off promo code. I did a really fun hosting of a Mark of the Unicorn webinar yesterday, and I showed Unify, and I decided to give a promo code to the people to save on Unify, even if they wanted to. And a whole bunch of people took advantage of it. So if you are new here because of getting Unify recently, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. So the promo code is webinar15. One word, WEBINAR 15. Small caps. That will save you $15 off whatever is in your cart. The only library that I didn't include it into was United, since that is a fundraising effort for raising money for Ukraine. That's not discounted. I've been looking for the webinar. Mark of the Unicorn created it. I haven't seen it somewhere yet to see. I basically do a dog and pony show showing Unify and explaining how it works. It was really fun. I didn't get a chance to interact with people and answer questions and stuff like that, which we get to do here all the time, which I was a little sad about because I like to do that. But it was more about just showing what Unify can do. Now, I'm using the filter envelope on the static pad. Of course, as soon as I'm done with this patch, I will make it available to you. This is using Del Norte, so you have to own Del Norte. I'll just play in Del Norte or the factory patches so you don't have to buy anything else. Because I sometimes get carried away and all of a sudden I'm using Zebra and other things. Let's say we want to add another pad. Let's say Unify layer is still set. Let's use Creative Snare Chord, because that's going to give me a cool little snare rhythm. I think we need some rhythm at this point. That's pretty tight as it is. I still have all sorts of libraries loaded up from. Let's go over here. Of course, we need a kick. So I'm gonna go over here to BPM kick, and here we go. I'm gonna set this to Unified drum because some of these are transposing, and I don't want the drums to transpose. So let's say 4 on the floor, number 5. I'm gonna hold down Option to turn down all of the sliders volumes together just a little bit so I can beef up the kick a little more. There you go, that's it, right? And then let's say we wanna go down to BPM snares. Let's say Vintage CR. I want this to be delayed. I don't want it on the same as the chorus. So I'm going to say, let's just use Omega delay. No feedback. I think I want it to be an 8th dotted. Okay, let's get this set right. I'm going to use the filtering of the delay. And I'm going to change the filter type to maybe band pass. Let's bring up a little feedback on this. And then I'm going to give it a little stereo imaging. So now it's no longer a snare, but it's a cool little auxiliary part in there. Let's go to percussion. I want to add a little bit of maybe a laser, little shaker. And maybe I want this to be doing some fun stuff, so I'm going to go over here. Again, these are patches that are just a single layer. If I open Unify, it's a single layer, and it's a lot of extra effects. Maybe I don't need those effects, and I want to quickly edit this patch. So I'm going to use this command, replace with embedded 1 instrument again, just to pop up the shaker. So it's right there really quick. It loses the settings. Be aware when you do that, it will change the volume setting of the mixer, of course. Now we can open this up. Let's make it a resonant filter. Let's set this to notes, quarter note. I want it in sync. Turn on this light so this way, even with new notes triggering, it will so it's a little whippy. There we go. I just want to be a little wow. And let's go over here to hi-hats. We need to get a cool hi-hat part going. I'm gonna load like the 8 hi-hats, because I'm gonna show you a fun thing you can do. So let's click to load. I know I already changed this to embedded 1. In fact, if you do this a lot, you can right click on patches and choose load embedded layer 1 only as an option from right clicking. You can do that. Now when I play this, that's the MIDI file pattern that hi-hat part is playing. But you can open up MIDI box and you can click this button to cycle through every MIDI file that's inside of whatever folder this original came in. So I'm not worrying about the sound right now. I want to check the pattern first. And I want it to be a little bit more accentuated, so I can turn down velocity and bring up velocity offset. And this will expand the dynamic range. Or is it this way? There we go. Now that I got the pattern the way that I want, I go to Guru Sampler. I can use transpose. Choose any sound in this drum kit. Let's hit this to high pass filter. So I'm going to turn a snare sound into a hi-hat. So let's see. I'm gonna take, at this point, maybe I'll just save it like this, because this is one of those things where you need to have a really cool bass line and stuff like that. That should be a separate layer. This sounds really good the way it is. So let's go save. I'll save this to the user bank. Let's see, I don't have a user library. I've been working in my, let me see here, if I go Unify. There is a user library. It's just not in the list because there's no patches. I deleted all the patches. So go, you don't have to do this because there's a user library, but if I go here and say user library, confirm, I'm gonna call this BPM pad. Since you play, I like patch names and stuff to like basically describe what it is you're going to do with what the sound is. What should we call this? Yeah, I mean, as far as to which version of a library to get, it really depends. They each are like kids of mine, and they each have unique things. The Omnisphere one, Airwave, other people made patches for it, so there's a lot of bonus patches. The Contact library is really cool because for the Contact interface, we added some cool MIDI things. The Unify version is great because it has so much just inside of it needing nothing but Unify. Really is one of the biggest benefits. But we did come up with some cool stuff patch-wise and voicing-wise for this. I have another library to show you next week. I'm not going to show you yet. I'm going to keep quiet. I have the worst time of letting secrets out of the bag, but I have a super special secret, top secret library coming. It's an existing library coming to Unify. So, but I'm not saying anything other than that. I'll show you next week. It's going to be really, really cool. Let's call this, what should we call this? Is Future X unified? I think somebody already unified Future X. Let me look into that. Because yeah, we should have that. Let me see something here. If I go find any file, Future X. Let me see. I can't remember if we did that already or not. Maybe not. That's definitely something we should unify, because that's a cool library. We do have the unified Spire library. This needs a good Euro name. This is a good Euro techno starting patch for. Cruizin. Tropical something. Tropical cruise. Tropical cruising. Save as. Let's see here. Bonus made during the May. What's this, the 21st? I can't believe it's the 21st already. 21st, 2022 live stream. Get your suntan lotion out. And crank the speakers. Okay, so let's go over here to our user library now established. Let me reveal this in Le Finder, and I will, let's see. I need to put this into my Dropbox folder, so open Dropbox in a new tab. And we need to open up the freebies folder. Unify. Wait, that's not right. Freebie Unify patches. I'm gonna, like, at the end of the year, I will list all of these. Oh, I should put, wait, let me, before I do that, under here, say, requires Del Norte EDM chill for Unify. And Unify. Nothing else. Nothing else. Okay, update. It's important that I do that so that when I look at these in the future, I can remember that this, well, it will tell me, of course, otherwise, but let me see. Copy the Dropbox link, paste, and here you go. A fun patch. Now, let me show you some other ideas on how you can take this. There's some certain sounds that have, like the hi-hats. Uh-oh. Oh, let me fix this. Wait, don't download that file yet. I think by clicking on this with Unify set to layer mode, I've loaded 2 copies of Cruizin into itself, which can happen. So save, reveal in Finder one more time. See, I got it. Copy this. Let's go back. Don't download that version. Or if you do in a second, you can download the new version, because I'll fix this. But freebie Unify patches, paste, replace. Okay, now you can download it. and it will get you a version that doesn't have two of itself. I was looking at like, wait, what's going on? So the hi-hat parts, let's look at the sounds. Well, I know I definitely want to have the kick drum on a volume slider, right? Now I'm gonna move things around. I'm gonna put the kick to the end. Let's group all the percussion together. So you can click and drag to change the order of parts. You know I'm gonna end up giving you an updated version of this patch. So if you wanna wait, so these three are the heart of the patch. The first pads 1, 2, and 3. And 4. That little offbeat snare thing is really useful. So down here, when we go to our knobs, these are set up. They might not be set up to anything right now. It's set up to something. Yeah, part 1. So I want this part to also control on the snare drum, the snare chord. That's instrument 4. So what you would do is you could go to the link parameters and find the auxiliary send 1 and duplicate this. Say duplicate, and then go here where it says 1, just go over here and change that to 4. And by doing that, I have changed the modulation assignment so it's now doing both 1 and see how 4 goes up 2. So now I can now let me see something. On part 1, is this a... It is, okay? So because of the way that I set up these BPM pluck patches, they are in a stack. So you can use this. I believe that's also the same for this layer right here, for this Unify, because it's also a BPM pluck, right? So if I solo these two, I can open this up and go to link parameters, and I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna say plus, go to instrument 2, Unify, and here, pattern number. But I wanna do something fun. Now, right now, they're gonna change now. They're playing the same pattern now. I don't want them to do that. I want them to be where they're playing different patterns off each other. So use this button right here, which will reverse the polarity. So while this one's getting busy, this one's, oh wait. Let's see, if this is like this, I want to reverse this like this. So as this one's getting slow, this one's getting fast. So now I have all these different patterns that are doing different combinations. That's very cool. So I have busy of part 2 here. And then busy of part 1 here. And in between, I have all sorts of cool different things. So let's pan them a little bit. And let's go to page 2. And let's call this kick volume. And so let's go to the link parameters, and the kick drum is part 5. So we set this to current volume on the right and 0 volume or 0 value on the left for the box choice. And that way when I call up kick, and here's the name, and say mix level, it will set it so that the far right equals what it currently is. And maybe I want it to be just a little bit louder. But now I can take it out. Now, if I want, this is where it gets interesting. Do I want one knob to control lots of things and change character, or just the kick volume? Let's keep it at just the kick volume and do this for filtering. And we'll go filtering, filter for drums, and we'll do filter for keys, for pad. So, because of how it's set up, I'm going to see how there's 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to need 4 filter maxes, EQ filter max, and I'm going to have it set to low pass filter and bright to start for all of these. Let's say, now this is a filter max that's set for the high pass filter, but it's not being used. So we're going to repurpose it to be a low pass filter, bring down the EQ a little bit. This one here. Now I could use the filter inside of the Guru sampler or other things, but this is like I do this quite often with plugins when I don't want to mess up the filters of the plugins. There might be doing something. I don't want to change that, but I want to be able to have a filtering component to this. So by adding filter max, I have a filter. Hello? If I go over here and say EQ, under here is filter max. This is a full-blown up to 48 dB resonant filter that I can apply as an insert effect. And now I have one on all 4 drums. So all I have to do is open up link parameters and say minimum max, and I want to go to BPM kick, go down to effects, and whatever effects are in the effects change you now see, and here's filter frequency. So I'm going to show you a feature that we've added to Unify 1.9 that's not available yet. We'll first do it the old school way, where you just say duplicate, but you see there's now a duplicate layer +1. Just say duplicate if you're doing this right now, and you double click and you go over here and you change the layer from 5 to 6. But I asked Shane, and he kindly added for the next update this, which will automatically change that layer assignment. Oh, I know why, because this is one of those where the insert effect, see next here it says effect 1. Well, it just so happens that this filter is not effect 1 on this layer. This is layer 7. If you go to effects, you'll see that there's 2 effects. So it looked at effect 1 and it didn't see filter cutoff for a name. So we can repurpose it here, or we can be sneaky, double click and just change this 1 to a 2, and that does the same thing. And then we can go up here and again, layer 8, yes, it is the second effect. So if I say duplicate +1 layer, boom. So now the drums are all able to be filtered. And by using low pass filter, I can let the kick drum still be there. Right? And maybe I want the hi-hats to have their volume effect with this, just a little bit, because hi-hats are one of those things. So let's go over to mix level. When it's at wide open, I want the hi-hat to just hit a little bit harder. So I've added filtering, and let's do the same thing now for the 3 synth parts. So let's go over here and say add a filter max, and I'm going to show you another cool feature that we've added to Unify 1.9. I'm going to go to one of these filter max. I'm going to go operation copy plugin state. I'm going to go and add additional filter maxes to each of these other layers, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, EQ, 3 filter max. And I'm going to close them because one of the cool features in Unify 1.9, I think I said 1.8, but 1.9, is the ability to hold down Shift and click on this little dot for the plugin and see how this currently says this. Watch, when I hold down Shift and click, watch the plugin, boom, it pastes the state value for the plugin automatically. So I can set them up by a simple button click. And then I need to go over here to filter pad, linked parameters. Current volume to 0 is the setting I want. And we go to MIDI. We want to go to effect, filter max, filter frequency. Now I'm going to say duplicate +1. It's going to probably go error because there's not 3 effects. There's only 1. So double click and change this to 1. And here, look, it's number 4. So if I say duplicate +1, it's got the layer right, but it needs to be effect number 4. But just like that, I have set up filters to 3 different groups, or 2 groups. I've got the kick volume. I've got the drum filtering. And then I have filtering for the pad. Now for the pad, I'm going to revise this a little bit more. I'm going to add something kind of sneaky. I want to use, let's use current value to current value as the option. And I'm going to go to one of these. And I'm going to say plus, not add. I want to add a new control to the effect filter max for Q, for the EQ, which is really low. I want it to increase as I move up the filter. As actually, I want it to be the opposite, I think, right? I want it to be kind of down when it's low, and then as it comes down lower in frequency, I want it to become more pronounced. So I'm going to set it up like that. I'm going to say duplicate. I'm going to say, we'll do this old school way. First, layer 2. And it goes, wait, there is no such thing here. So you just come over here and say layer 1, and it's there. And let's say duplicate again. And we're going to change this to be layer 3. And it's, as I know now, it's number 4. So there. Now I have it. So as I bring this knob from, okay, so I think I want it to be inverted. So invert, invert, invert. Because as I bring this, let's see, this is, yeah, this is bright. So reverse, reverse, reverse. There we go, here. I mean, the filters in Filter Max are not messing around. They are wonderful. And what I think I might need to do, let's see. Let's bring down the Q just a little bit. And I obviously need to bring down the filter frequency. And what I love with Unify, and again, this is something nobody else offers, is when I change these depths of the ranges, I'm able to hear what that value will be just by clicking the dot and changing it. That is so unbelievably powerful, and nobody else does this. There's nowhere else you can do this. So I can hear where this 0 point so part 3 is really resonant. So let's bring down the resonance. It doesn't need that much resonance. And then part 3, there. Maybe I want to go a little bit lower. I like to get deep. This, I want it to have, because I really like the nature of that, I'm gonna use the curve this way, which just gives it more places in this range to play with. I'm gonna do that for all these guys because I want, when I get down here to the low end, I want lots of play space. So I can play around here. Nice. Okay, let me revise, save, and get this to you one more time. I told you I was probably gonna play with it some more, but doing stuff like that really takes voicing to another level. I love to do that when I have the time to apply it to making patches. There's so much there's so much more I could do to this patch, adding distortion that would come in. Effects could be on, I mean, we could spend an entire, maybe one of these live streams, we'll just make a massive patch and spend the whole time showing you all these types of tricks that I use, because it really makes a difference in getting fully realized patches. So PlugInGuru freebies, go to the Unify patches and drag this over one more time. All right, if you re-download that file one more time, who made Filter Max and the other stuff with those green and black GUIs? Okay, good question. Most of these were made by Shane. Well, actually, because there's such a large number of them, many of these are, if they say MDA, that means they're part of the MDA collection, which is a collection of free open source effect plugins, which, to be honest, probably half of the plugins on the market are made with them underneath being used. All these $19, $29 plugins, many of them are made from people just repurposing and maybe revising a little bit or starting with the MDA plugins because they're so good, but they're open source, so we include them. If it doesn't say MDA, then Shane built them. So Shane made a lot of these. He made Filter Max. He made Restrictor. Flex EQ is his own. I worked with him on the design of it, and we revised it and did it together. But he's the code master behind anything that doesn't say MDA in our effect list or Dragonfly reverb. Those are part of a free collection that we provide of reverbs that were made by someone else that we help them bring them up to current release. Klangfalter is actually a convolution reverb made by someone that's an open source plugin that we are using as an effect. It's wonderful. So Shane didn't make this, but he did revise it to add the browser so you could see what's going on here and all that kind of stuff. But all the effects are Shane's that don't say MDA. But if they do say MDA, then that's part. If you search online, you can find those as plugins. Hey, I'm watching. Been a while. Good to see you, man. 16914. Okay. I might do that. I might do a deep dive course into some of the patches and stuff that gets made and how it gets made, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that was a fun introduction. I wasn't really planning on spending that much time doing so, but hey, we did get written permission from everybody that we were working with, and it's a collaboration. They agreed that we could use them in Unify. So it's not one of those things where we didn't just, we're not ripping anybody off or something like that. Yeah, me. Hey, by the way, welcome Shane back. He's been on vacation. He went into Switzerland with his wife, had a wonderful time. It's glad to have him back in the stream after a while. He's been chilling and relaxing and just having much needed little chill time. So welcome back, my friend. Let's see, we got all sorts of things to cover today. Arturia has released a just monster of an update to the V Collection. And also, let's start with Another group that we are happy to have as a unified library right here, Kilohertz Phase Plant, has been updated to version 2. If you know Phase Plant, it is a serious monster of a synthesizer. RJH is asking if about using FL Studio as a plugin. It's there and available, and I think that's really cool. That's more of an individual use thing. For those of you that don't know, FL Studio is available as a plugin. So a complete DAW can be loaded into a single layer inside of Unify. And then use that to play song parts while you're playing live if you wanted to. There's all sorts of ways you can incorporate that ability into Unify. But that's, I don't know if that's something, I don't own FL Studio, so that's something I probably should look at getting. There we go, a normal starting point. So Phase Plant, if you open it up, it doesn't look that much different until you get down here to things like clicking on modulation sources, and then all of a sudden, really helpful information that I happen to know takes a massive amount of effort to create the graphics and have this work where everything that has a modulation source is tied to something, and all the parameters that have modulation sources are colored, and you can go up here, you'll see the relationship to what it is, how it's tied to knobs. The big part of this update to Phase Plant is just organizing things. When you click here, everything is now organized into groups. When you click over here for the oscillators, if you want to add a new oscillator, everything is now in groups. It's much more streamlined as far as that goes. There's new modulation sources. It's a really, really wonderful plugin. If you don't own Snap's Heap, that is this really cool plugin, Snap Heap, that allows you to, see if you double click, no, you have to hit here, I believe. Where is it? You hit the little editor button. This allows you to load up multiple effects. This is currently free at Kilohertz. I believe it's in June, it's going to $29. So this is something to go register at Kilohertz and get Snap Heap for free if you want, before it becomes $29. And you can click here to load multiples of their plugins. It doesn't give you access to other plugins, but it's very, very powerful. It's very interesting. They also added a new video game, by the way. If you click right here, Asteroider is available as spacebar to shoot, and your arrows left and right to turn left and right, and forward and backward for your spaceship, and you can play asteroids while your song is playing if you so desire. So that's pretty cool. So it's a great update. Again, it's such a great sounding synth. And you can see how this is assigned to the cutoff. I'd call this more new generation synthesis. It's very clean, precise. They're not trying in any way whatsoever to recreate existing synthesizers. So it's a nice comparison and opposite to what Arturia is for the most part doing. They should combine the game with sounds when you hit something. That would be cool, especially if you could like make your own MIDI files and so forth. That'd be crazy. But their concept is that you have down here as many oscillators as you want to add, And then you have all sorts of add-on filters, distortion, envelopes, noise, all sorts of things you can add to it. And just add as you need. It's not a preset hardware interface like an analog synthesizer that you've got 3 oscillators, you've got 1 filter. If you want to have every single one of these oscillator components have their own filtering, you can do that. There's wave tables, massively powerful and very nice updates. So all the patches, so I haven't seen, I believe they're working on a 2.0 library. I couldn't find one in there. There is another set of patches called the Gratis, which is made by a whole bunch of really established artists as well as others that are kind of like taking this farther than the factory patches. Like Mr. Bill made this. So both of those are unified libraries. For those of you new to the group that just got Unify, if you go to the PlugInGuru website, let me get over here really quick. Let me log out so that it doesn't have all this stuff going on. So here is the pluginguru.com website. Renegade is an incredible cinematic library you have to check out. United is a really nice fundraising library that's got TB303 and Razor and all sorts of really cool samples and some incredible drum grooves from 2 other Unify customers that are dear friends of the group. But if you go to Unify and you click right there, this is the product page. And if you scroll down, starting in the middle are the list of unified libraries. And it's up to, I think it's like, I don't even know what the number of the count is. It's a lot of libraries have been unified. Any of these plugins that you own, this means that you can get their patches into Unify. And so if we go up here to Kilohertz, you will see Kilohertz, Phase Plant Factory, and the Gratis bonus free library. I got permission from Kilohertz to Unify and release both of those as free libraries. Just click, it will go to a Dropbox link where you can download it. It's a .guru file. You just drag the .guru file like you did the factory library over the interface of Unify to install. For the most part, you need to have the VST2 version of the plugin inside of Unify on the plugin page. So if we go over here to manufacturer and we go to Kilohertz, Kilohertz, here we go. See how it's all, if I go to Kilohertz, phase, plant. Oh, come on. Phase, distortion. Is it under phase plant? Oh, I think I saw it. It's probably staring me. Yeah, here we go. Phase plant. It's the VST. It needs to say VST. If you want, you can use options, scan for new or updated VST plugins. We now have the ability for you to scan all 3 formats. So you can have all of your audio units, all your VST, all of your VST3. Let it go through the installation. It takes this application that runs in the background. When it's all done, use this remove redundant plugin, and that will remove any doubles of any plugins, prioritizing VST2 first, because all of our libraries, for the most part, unless it says so on this page, as we go down this page, you'll see some of these will say uses the VST3 format for Warlock. So that means you need to make sure you have the VST3 version. If it doesn't say that, then it's the VST2 version. And by doing this step, you now have all of the patches from this library. So that you can go over here, Unify layer, and now I can choose any patch, and it will load. Let's say duplicate this, and let's transpose this up an octave, or actually a fifth. So I'm now up to, let's use some sort of a big door breaker bass. 4 phase plant patches being used in one patch, then I could go over to the standard library, go to leads. I have some really big fat leads that I could layer with this, like say the, let's see, like the 64 Monster Uniglide. I'm still in Unify layer, so by choosing this, it adds this dude to it. You can build all day long, and once you've added unified libraries for other plugins, they can join the doggy park. So I could go to Serum, and I could go down here to basses, and I could say something like laser bass. And because I'm set at Unify layer, I've added that. And let's add who. Let's take that up an octave by using the transpose right here. So if you're like trying to make really big, obscene breaks, you can make layers of every patch inside of Unify. So when I set this to all libraries, I'm looking at 16,474 patches right now. And this isn't all the libraries. The whole database of all of our unified libraries, all of the PlugInGuru libraries. I could go to Toxic Omnisphere, which is a library that Seth Norman, who now works at Spectrasonics, and I made for Omnisphere of just obscene, deep bass stuff. If you add Knife Grinder, it's going to load Unify, it's going to load Knife Grinder, and add it to this mix. And Purple Rave. So that's 9 layers. So it really is of great benefit to get into playing with. I'm big in libraries. That's what I do. I sell libraries. I've made 80 libraries, right? So once you have these in libraries inside of Unify, you can combine all of them together. And that's where it gets really, really fun. Let me do a really quick demo on the fuzzy dice, and then I'll show you Arturia's version 9 collection. Let's say I want to do something with bass. So I'm going to say bass, and this is the kilohertz. Oh, no, this is the Toxic Omnisphere. So let's say normal to start. The fuzzy dice lets me randomly choose patches. So I'm going to say bass. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. Let's say go to categories and just choose. I have to have bass. Interesting. Well, we have plucky bass, motion bass. Let's say motion bass. So I'm going to say fuzzy dice, so it chooses one of these 5, then changes into this, and then turn this clear and say bass. And by using the fuzzy dice, it will choose now between 64, because this is instrument 1 only. It's not going to load massively huge layers. It's only going to load one instrument at a time. And I could go over here to Brazil, and I'm still set to bass, so it's limited it to 228 bass patches, fuzzy dice. It's making combinations of patches really, really fun. I could say init, I could say key, and now I have keyboard patches. So I could say, let's see, normal to start, and say fuzzy. And let's say I want it to load into a unified layer, this time with the effects and everything. Let's go up to something like Mega Magic Keys, which is right here. 133 keyboard patches. Randomly choose one for me, please. And so it added Mega Magic 2 reverb keys to that. And let's go down here to the standard library, and there's 94 key patches. Let's say random 2 times, and then turn this down and so now you got a whole song to play. Now hear how the drums are going up and down in pitch. That's because of this unified drum ability we have with MIDI box to, as you play up and down the keyboard, it transposes the drums. You can turn that off by opening up the Unify layer with the drums, go to MIDI box, and turn off note to chorus. This is a special thing that we have connected only between MIDI box and Guru Sampler, where it changes the transpose, actually the chorus, based on what note you play, because this way you can have drum grooves that change in pitch. But there's times where you want just to sit and not change pitch, right? Okay, so fuzzy dice is really fun when you have 60,000 patches to randomize with. It just opens up all sorts of really cool doors for you, right? So, any questions? If you guys have questions, pop them up. I'm happy to. Well, so because of the way that Unify works, it's really efficient because each layer, even if it's 12 instruments, each one is attached to its own CPU thread. And if you're familiar with how these computers work and so forth, they have multiple threads on each processor. And you have on your computer, what, 4 processors at the minimum, many are 8 processors. Each one of those has 8 or 16 threads. And each one of those can be running at full speed, and it just helps it distribute power and so forth more efficiently. By doing that, if you saw on my CPU, if I say init and I say, let's go back to something that's really CPU heavy like Phase Plant. If you were to try this, do this as a plugin, most plugins host, inside of a sequence or something, they don't have multi-core processor support. But Unify does even in that situation. But if you were to say bass, and let's say new for the first one, and we say bass, and let's go to Unify layer and let's choose. It hit hard for a second. It goes, oh, I know what you're doing. See how the CPU hasn't jumped? Because each one of these is on its own chord. This is only talking to you and telling you the processor that's getting the most work out. So now, because this is so loud, because this is 5 bass patches, learn to use the Option or Alt key to grab volume, and this changes auxiliary and all of the layer volumes in relationship. So if I had some of these down and I hold down Option, you see how it keeps the relationship intact. They don't all snap to the same value. But turn down the volume. Watch your outputs. Always use, if this is set to just the init layer like this, I highly recommend, no matter what you're doing, always go to Unify's Dynamics and add Loud Max. Because even set with nothing else happening, it's a brick wall at the output, so it doesn't get distortion. You won't hear distortion in your audio card, even if it's overdriving it. If I bring this up, where I'm clearly cranking the crap out of it. If I turn this off, you actually hear the breakup. If this is on, you don't hear the breakup. It's still way too loud. play one note, hold down sustain pedal. Yeah, we have awesome chat. I like all the chat helping out. Yes, Fuzzy Dice can search for anything. Fuzzy Dice's rule is it's a randomizer between what is in this pool. So if I set the pool at all libraries and I say init patch and I say normal, it's now choosing between 16,474 patches. So it's sometimes fun just to do this as like, where am I going today? Because we have all these plugins. If you don't, I get told all the time by people that they love how this opens up patches they forgot they even had. So this opened up BBC's core station, and I've got one of my string. It'll take a minute to load up. If you're not familiar with Core Station or Discover Station, this is a library I did in partnership with my friend Jeff Stradling. That is he's incredibly talented in Los Angeles as a film orchestrator, composer, just musician extraordinaire. And we worked on a library for the BBC Discover Station library, it can be a $50 orchestra. They have upgrades to the Core Station and Pro Station versions. But this is if we go like just a Core Station for a moment, this is letting me play all of these different string sections simultaneously, all the brass, all the woodwinds. If you get to the strings and something like the staccatos, normally when you call up orchestra libraries, it's like the violin ones, they play up here and then they stop. And then you have to go to the next track, which is your violas or violin twos, and then cellos and basses. Well, Unify can play multiple layers at once. So now, I'm able to play the entire string orchestra. And they did for Abbey 1, they did a similar concept to this where it's everything as one thing. But the difference with this is that this is still 5 plugins. I could EQ, say I want the violins. Maybe I want to add a little EQ to sweeten the high end. I could go flex EQ. I could EQ the high end of the violins. And let's say I wanted the basses, I wanted these to have a huge reverb. So I could go reverb, hall, make it really long decay. These don't have that reverb. So you can do all sorts of things that give you these great advantages because it's separate elements. And if I go to the winds and I say, I want to have the ensemble marcatos, go to Unify layer, and we will load, just like clicking this, a separate layer, which is all 5 of the woodwinds, the flutes, the piccolo, oboe, clarinets, and bassoons. And so let's turn them down a little bit so that they blend in. And I could even go to the brass and load up the long, let's say sforzando brass. So we get nice on everything. And it'll take a second to load, but come on, brass. They're notorious for being slow to warm up. It's like an old car. But this is a library that gives you, they'll eventually show up. Usually by now somebody showed up. You know, it's probably still loading the woodwinds, but if you give it the time, oh, come on. Don't make me wait. I need my brass now. What is going on? Yeah, they're here. Just don't want to load. Well, they eventually load and then they work. But the concept, as you can see, the CPU, even playing, we're up to like 15 plugins of the BBC plugin from Spitfire Audio, and we're still super efficient, which is really cool. So this is one of the libraries that we have for Unify that kind of opens up all sorts of cool doors. If you get to some of these like Copeland, oh wait, let me do this as just a single normal patch. This is with percussion. Maybe it will load up the brass. There it is. And you got the there's the timpani. And I have the cymbal crash on a velocity range, so you could set this to be even higher so it doesn't play so often, but let's say I want to be 127, so I have to actually smack it. You know, so all that kind of stuff instantly call up all sorts of really, really cool layers. We did some fun voicing and flutes haven't loaded yet. There they are. So there's fun voicing in here, really cool pads. All sorts of things beyond just playing the samples. Have I transitioned to a Mac Studio yet? I have not. I wish I have. I don't know. I'm now hearing a lot of information about the M2 processors coming. And so I'm almost. Yeah. It's piano lessons. If you can't play, get more lessons. I need piano lessons myself. I want to get some new chords and new voices and. Anyway, so this is one of the libraries. Thank you to the fuzzy dice for calling that up. If I go back to all libraries and I hit the fuzzy dice again, it's going to take me on a completely different adventure. This is dealing with all of the patches for all the plugins you've bought. This is what you own already. So what's really great is Unify gives you like this door to walk through to explore all of your plugins, all of your patches in cool ways. So make sure you take advantage of that. What do we have here? Oh, pigments, bamboo and water. All right, so we're in special effects. So say special effects, say Unify layer, and hit the fuzzy dice and see what else gets added. And let's hit fuzzy dice again. There we go. And fuzzy dice again. And let's pan these around. Do some 8-bit kind of stuff, you know? I mean, the adventures you can take, it's kind of like throwing a dart at a map. It just opens up all sorts of really cool, like, hey, try this. What if you want to do that stuff, right? Okay. So the last thing to talk about is a new update that Arturia just released for the V Collection. If you're not familiar with it, it is a collection by company of all of these plugins in a single combination purchase. And they have added the MS-20. They've completely revamped their physically modeled piano. It's stunning. The Prophet 5 was always a kind of combination plugin in the past where you had a button to switch to be the Prophet VS. It's now the Prophet VS and the Prophet 5 as two separate plugins. There's the full augmented strings. They had the augmented strings intro for a while. They now have augmented voices, which is voices with morphing and the, you know, move the morph knob. You get this cool dancey stuff. Other examples. So it's fun. As we discovered when we were playing with the intro version, if you go to the knobs for these plugins and you go to the plus button and we go to augmented voices, you have access to all of the parameters inside of the engine. Let me see, do they now have the advanced button, which will take you into the engine? So now you can see what is going on behind the hood where it's two separate oscillators. They have all these different types of voices processed. Additional samples that they've given access to. The modulators, arpeggiators, effects. What the macros are actually doing. So you can get in now with the advanced button and actually see behind the hood for all the patches. So they've got so much stuff. It is just truly amazing. Let me show you some highlights. Arturia, the MS-20 is new. Here's their website. We will get you to Arturia. Go to arturia.com. and discover the V Collection. And it's $4.99 for 33 plugins. It's a wonderful value. The quality is great. If you already own one of the existing V Collections, you can log in and you'll get a personal offer, which is really sweet. And what's new is the SQ80. This was a synth they brought out about 3-4 months ago. And now it's available. The MS-20, let's see here. Why are you not showing up right? Oh, there we go. The MS-20 sounds great. Okay, so I think my computer, so I'm going to quit Unify real quick. And sometimes I just have to refresh its graphics. I don't know what it is, but now if I go over here to Arturia MS-20, we should have it show up with its interface. There we go. And you can tell right away There is serious vibe in this. The filters are incredible. It has the layout of the MS-20 where there's a high-pass filter. You have linking you can do, so you can have this be the master. Or you can have them go in opposite directions. Which is really cool. It has a sequencer, which is my favorite kind of sequencer. This really step, knobby, cool sequencers. If you go to the sequence patches, there's all sorts of... So you get into all sorts of really cool... But it's really nice in nature. It has that modeled synthesis. It doesn't sound like perfect oscillators and, you know, factory clean filters. There's stuff in it. You go over here. As I play this, I can't help but think about Vangelis, who we lost this week. He did so much unbelievably beautiful music. Total inspiration for me for many, many years, my God. I grew up originally playing organs. So the whole concept of having the orchestra at your fingertips that he pioneered and like took to such an incredible level. I mean, I totally know where he's coming from, but he just took it so much farther. And this kind of sequency things would all of a sudden creep into his compositions from somewhere, and you'd be like, that's beautiful. So there's all sorts of fun stuff just in this one plugin to play with, and this is one of 33. Let me show you a couple others that are really incredible. Piano version 3 is a physically modeled piano. They have a keyboard calibration process you can go through if you want at the very beginning to calibrate soft velocity and hard velocity. Over here are your different models. There's American, German, Japanese grand. Then you get into other things like classical upright, jazz upright. Brightness. And if you hit advanced, you now get access not only to the effects, but to the model. And here's where I have all their factory patches, and they need to add more patches. There's all sorts of places they did not go that they should have gone. You can change hammer hardness. The noises. Unison detune, age. Here, let me save this. I'm making a library. I'm going to give it to you in a minute. Let's go save. Key in mellow memories. So I'm still thinking about Vangelis. And up here, piano version 3. This is keyboard. And just a mellow, unique piano. So save as. I have made 3 patches already in a category that they didn't do any patches like this. Snowflakes. Here, let's do this. I'm gonna take the Z out. Oh, I'll keep the Z in because I'll probably unify all of the patches and release this as a full library. Let's see, updates that they're all Z. Let me reveal in the final. I'll give you this library. I'm gonna add a Z to the beginning of this name. The other patch that I did, 0G piano, is this one. It can so nicely go into this really cool, unique not piano, but you play it like a piano kind of sounds. Right? So let's go Unify. So this is an early version. I call it a unified library, even though it's none of the unified patches, but you can have these bonus patches if you want them. Let me compress this. I'll put this to Dropbox in the freebies folder for now because it doesn't get to go into the full library folder until it's fully unified. But I'll make this a freebie if you own this. Freebies, unified patches. Again, it's just a work in progress. So copy the Dropbox link. Here is yeah, I don't know if they're licensed from Pianotech. It's possible. A dear friend of mine, Jerry Kowarski, who I worked with at Korg for many, many years, he was the product manager. He worked with them on consulting for the getting the effects right for the resonance and, you know, things for the acoustic quality. So let me play some of the normal pianos. So there's lots of pianos. I mean, it plays so nice. Let's see, let's close the advanced picture and they did get into some cool alternate voicings. It's not just piano, right? But what's fun is you can take and duplicate this patch, say duplicate the layer, and let's find a normal piano to put on top of that. And maybe turn down. And then let's go Unify layer and let's add in mellow memories. So see how my CPU is like just chugging along happily? That's thanks to Shane and the multi-processor support of Unify. But this is 3 of the same piano plugin. That's beautiful. Super, super cool. So there's so much value to this collection. Let me show you the SQ80. This was the plugin that came out, like I said, a little while ago. I was alive and a kid when this, where's it at? SQ80. This came out when I was still like just out of high school. I'd probably been in college in Seattle for... Oh, don't be CPU out. Right? Really great. Here's a synth engine to play with. And again, you can duplicate, or you can go to any other library, any other plugin, go to Valkan, let's say ARP, A-R-P, Fuzzy Dice. Oh, wait. Oh, I did. It's a Unify layer. Whew. And what do we got? Ha, cool. And then let's go to Brazil. Fuzzy Dice one of these 10 patches. Let's go over here. Let's try to doctor this up, put some water verb on it. And then let's do this. Let's right click on the C-2 and play C. So that way I could go to, well, let's go to the whole Brazil library and say bass. And let's say load into a new Unify layer. I'm going to choose just, let's say, Fuzzy Dice 3 times. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to right click on G8 and say B. So it stops. And now the low end. I'm working on the next Sasha album. So let's go up here to like Noise Box. Let's get a real drum groove going with this. Or Cloud City. Let's do, Cloud City would be really fun. Let's get some percussion stuff going. So clear this. Go to BPM perk to the world kit. I love these grooves. Like we could choose like, let's say Unified drums so it doesn't transpose pitch. Zippy techno kit. And let's go up here to the big BPM drums. And then say load. And let's make sure these are only playing the top half or the bottom half. Do you guys want this patch? Let's say replace from preset. I have this preset right here. Optimizer Lite is used on every factory patch. And check this out. Here's without it. Here's with it. out. Just gives it that much more presence. Because they're split, so it's like two keyboards, you know, the right hand is doing its thing, the left hand. So let's see. BPM split, power to the people. And we'll save this to the user library, BPM split. And then after this, I need to say adieu to all of you. I have going to Sister's organ. I have a dear uncle that passed away. He was in his 90s. He had the really long, curly mustache that was always just perfect, Uncle Gene. Have to go say our respects and farewell to him. Tags, this is groove, split, bass. So this is using a lot of stuff, isn't it? So this is using Bazil. Well, let's see, what are we using here? So we're using heavy plugin requirement for this one, requirement. So you have to use Arturia's SQ80 version V, which is one that just came out. Oh, if you hit cancel, you can go over here and see. And I think that I'm using Bazil for the basses, right? Yeah, for the basses. And so save Bazil 1.1 or later, and then Cloud City Volume 1 for the drums, for the bass, right hand. Save as save. And let's go over here to user library, reveal in the Finder, so it will show it. It's right over here. So I'm going to copy. I'm going to go over to the PlugInGuru freebies, copy the link. And if you want to play with this, hey, Creative Fire Media, good to see you. There you go. So now, so that is there for you to play with. Again, there's a promo code at the PlugInGuru website until Sunday night. Use webinar 15. You can save $15 off any purchase, including Unify, which makes Unify the best $64 you will ever spend in your life. And Unify very rarely goes on sale. So this is, I don't think it hasn't been on sale this year yet. So this is the first time it's on sale until Sunday night. So anyway, there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Shout outs. I'll do my shout out from very sunny and warm. I'm sweating in my room today, which I haven't sweat while sitting in a live stream for a very long time. but it is finally not raining. Sunny, warm Portland, Oregon. Yes, well, graphic interface is our weak point. It is seriously one of those things where making it look really pretty would have taken us another year of development and made it really expensive. And so, you know, maybe we can, I don't know, but I like how it is. There's some things we want to do in the future. I'm talking with Shane to see what we're going to do. It is what it is. And it works the way it works. And graphics, you know, sometimes people with the most personalities are not the most beautiful and shiny, right? So it's what Unify does that sets it apart, not how it looks. There's lots of plugins that look great and you'll never use them. This is the plugin that once you understand the power, I promise you will be having this like on every channel. Because anytime you can go back and add layers, augment your mix of a song, modify things without needing to duplicate to other tracks and other plugins, and it just becomes a piece of cake. So looks are subjective. Yeah, exactly. Hey, shout outs from England, I see, from Wales, Arizona. Good to see you, Creative. David's up in Louisville, Kentucky. Norway, Ivar. Here's your chance, Ivar. You got some savings on Unify. You can finally buy it if you want. Les in Poland, good to see you. Shout out from Denmark. Cool. Denmark in the house. South France. Right, yeah. Yeah. Good to see you all. So thank you for joining us. It's good to see you all. Welcome to the new Guru family members. I know there's some new guys here in the group, so maybe open it up to user skins. Yeah, you know, the problem is when you open that up, then everybody makes it orange and ugly. So, you know, there's lots of requests. There's only one Shane. And so, good. Okay. Thank you all. I will see you next week. There will be a live stream. The week after that, there will not be a live stream. I will be in Los Angeles for the NAMM show. There's some fun stuff going on there. I got people to meet, and I wasn't going to go. We don't have a booth, so there isn't any show. Oh, yeah. Click the like button if you don't mind. Thank you for clicking the like button. That always makes... I've been following a couple gamer guys that play, and, you know, they end up with, you know, hey, 8 likes away from 800 likes, you know, because they've got like 1,200 people watching them play something like Elden Ring or something like that. So, and Taylor, thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Shane. Yes, next week there will be a reveal of a library that will be available when I reveal it. I'm trying to do more of that stuff instead of talking about something and then it's not available. So, if you missed it, you can go back. Once I stop, it will save, and then you can relink. It's all good, Shadow, my friend. I would stay and hang out more, but I have to leave for Memorial in Central Oregon to go to. So I have to say farewell for now. So, but I'll see you all next week. Have a wonderful week. Be creative. Be unified. All right. See you later.